For today's PhatPhish interview, I'm really pleased to be joined by Connor Thomas, an acoustic guitar player who I met quite a few years ago now, and I've been hoping to get him on here because he's fairly local to me. You know, I've been interviewing people from America and Germany. We finally got somebody from pretty much just down the road. So, Connor, hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Did we meet at, was it Thirsk?
It wasn't. It was Penrith.
Of course.
First time I saw
you mentioned, yeah.
was, I'm going to guess 2018?
Yeah, it was about that long ago.
At Reggae.
That centre was so cool. You had like the really nice theatre.
Yeah.
It was so funky. It was like partially underground as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
that
the
was
thing.
A great guitar show.
Yeah, that's the thing I remember about that. It's not the best of the guitar shows, but as a venue for doing performances, because it is like a proper theatre, a proper auditorium.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you doing doing an acoustic set. Very, very fresh faced, very young acoustic guitar player, but very accomplished. So you must have started playing fairly early then, did you?
Yeah, so I started when I was about 10-ish, and it was kind of a bit backwards how I got into it. I started learning piano from a young age. My mum was a piano player, and I grew up with a piano in the house, which I think is an important thing for any child. I think having a musical instrument in the home is valuable, and but you know, I wanted to rebel against it to some degree. She was trying to teach me things, and I was just like, I'm getting bored of this now. So I started to get the desire to play guitar, and that only kind of really hit fully when we were sorting out the attic, and we found this old Westfield guitar that was smashed to bits. It was destroyed, and just like a typical kid, when you can't get the something or can't have the something, you want the something. So I was like, oh, the guitar's broken. Now I want to play guitar. So, you know, not having, like, at that point in my life, family had very little money, couldn't afford to just go out and get a guitar. But my granddad had some woodworking skills, so he rebuilt this guitar. He put a plywood back on it, repaired it, got it to, don't get us wrong, it wasn't good, but he got it to a playable condition. And because I was kind of like, well, that's it, I'm gonna have to give it a go now. He spent all this time working on it. I've got to eat my cake, really. Yeah. So so I started playing guitar, and my granddad knew a little bit, and he got me into reading tabs, and that was the only skill he really taught me. He taught me how to read tabs and how to play a C chord, and I just became immediately obsessed.
Yeah. So did you do like music at school?
No, YouTube was my teacher, honestly. It was Chet Atkins, really, who got me into it. I remember the first song that I actually learned from tabs was actually Foot Tapper by The Shadows. And I honestly practiced that song so much to the point where I think my granddad was trying to do anything to get me to stop playing that. And then he was like, why don't you watch some videos of some other guitar players? So started looking at Chet Atkins and saw a video of him doing Mr. Sandman. If anyone's seen Chet do Mr. Sandman, it's absolutely brilliant. Blew my mind. And from that moment on, I was like, okay, now I need to learn how to fingerpick. And that's what started the journey, really.
Yeah, because I've got obviously when I saw you, I picked up the beginning CD, and there's a little bit of blurb from somebody on the back there that said you had a fairly unique style, and I guess that comes from you being self-taught. It's not like you're not doing like the textbook way of how to do all the right hand stuff. Is it just? Yeah.
I never got the textbook way. I've got a story about that actually, but before I do, I'm amazed that you have that CD. I think I must have only made like 30 to 50 of them for the intention of like 2 guitar shows, and it was like my first time I'd ever recorded music, to be honest. So it never really got published anywhere public or Spotify. I just had a couple of CDs made and then took it to guitar shows. So there's not many of those about, and I haven't seen that front cover in years. But it's certainly what's the word? it's clearly a first CD, but
Oh,
you know,
don't knock it. I was just listening to it this morning. It's some really good.
really,
Yeah.
really, wow, God, I can't believe that. I can't believe there's still copies of that lying around. But yeah, I think you know, being self-taught um, definitely gave me a unique, or I wouldn't say unique, really, because there's lots of people who do what I do, but it's not common for people I think my age to get into things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's rare because it's somewhat of a dying art, unfortunately. I think it's getting revived now. Don't get me wrong, but back then it was, you know, wasn't very popular. Um, but yeah, I remember learning that style and really trying to get what I call like thumb independence, or what people call thumb independence, is where you're getting this digit to do its own thing, its own bass. And I did a cover of, I need to remember the song now. I think it was, you know, Red Red Wine by it's a UB40.
I know the
Yeah.
UB40 version, but it is
I think
a
it's
cover. I
UB40.
can't mind who did it
Yes,
originally.
yeah. I did a version of that in school. I think I must have been about 13, 14, but it was the whole band was playing things and learning songs, and I thought I wasn't playing in a band or anything, but I thought I'd do my own arrangement of it. And I remember a teacher turning around to us and going, "Connor, that's not how you play acoustic guitar. You're meant to strum." And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough. At 13, 14 years old, that kind of makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. But
Yeah, I mean, I had a phase where the majority of my in-person pupils, students, were kids who were trying to learn music at school. And like you say, there was no, this is the way that the curriculum tells you that you play guitar, you play chords. But they will want to play lead lines. You know, they got an electric guitar at home and they wanted to play single note runs. It was like, no, you play as like, you know, come by our chords. That was what they did, because that's how you play guitar. And I'm glad they came to me, because I was saying, no, there's other ways you can play a guitar and you can experiment and do it like the wrong way. You know, I certainly worry about how much musicality has been stifled by traditional music education.
yeah, but not just music. I mean, don't want to get into political and these kinds of deep conversations, but generally, school and education stifles multiple forms of creativity, and music was definitely music's definitely one of them. But you know, I think if we all have good heroes and we look up to people, like for me, Chet Atkins, Tommy Manuel, you can see through that a little bit and work on your own thing.
Yeah. So obviously, so you got your influences, and were you just learning exclusively from tabs, or did you get to the point where you could just do like by ear and kind of work stuff out? Because it's fairly complex stuff you've got when you've got lots of fingers going on at once.
It's a mix. I mean, I started with tabs at like such a young age, and it was my intro into guitar. So it was the way that I learned things at the start, without a doubt. And to this day, I still find tabs like really useful. For the most part, I can like sight read tabs, and I can take the time to listen to the notation, and that's great skill to have for like wedding gigs where you just need to like have a repertoire or put together a repertoire. But now I find myself trying to work the other way a lot more. I'm trying to use my ear. I'm trying to get better at that, and it's not something that like came that natural to me. But I mean, it's definitely a thing. It's definitely. I find that if I do things by ear, I care about the melody more. I care about the song more, and the songs that I have learned or put together by ear tend to be better representations of the original than the ones that I've just kind of cobbled together through a tab.
Yeah. So it's funny. This is a subject of a video that I did a few weeks ago. The idea of when you're doing a cover version, actually making it your own. So how did you, or when did you kind of make that transition from just like, here's the tabs, this is it being played right, to kind of making it your own version of that song? You know, the one I remember from listening to the CD this morning is the Sultans of Swing cover. It's definitely Sultans of Swing, but you put your own spin on it. Some, you know, the little da-da-da transitions, you using different chord voicings to the original. Little phrases. How did you move towards kind of not composing, but you know, that sort of, you know, making things your own?
I don't think any of it's happened like instantly or fast. I think like the Sultans of Swing example that you've got there, that I think if I remember correctly, there was a lot in that song that was really heavily inspired by a guitar player called Andrea Valeri, who's Italian player. He's phenomenal, and he had some unique things that I would work into that arrangement. And what I actually find myself doing more now with playing live is like I might have an arrangement for a song which is pretty close to the original in terms of its melody or its chords or its structure, and then when you play it live you realize that for whatever reason on guitar something just doesn't land, something just doesn't hit. So I find myself like adapting it over time to kind of suit the situation and the audience more. I wouldn't I'm trying to think of an example. So there's an Instagram video that I've got of Phil Collins' "You'll Be in My Heart."
Yeah.
So I played it like an arrangement of that where I just listened to the song, I internalized it, got to the point where I knew everything that I needed to know about the song, and got the bass line down, which is the backbone of that song. And I then took that to playing live at the guitar show last weekend in Manchester, and when I played it live, while I was actually doing sound check, I realized that like it just didn't feel right, so I added something else to it that didn't take away from the original, but kind of made it a bit more unique. And I think that's the way that I've done things. No arrangement that I've ever done has been like start to finish perfect, that's it, done, happy, leave it like that forever. It always evolves, and I think it evolves due to just the experience of playing it more.
Yeah, I think if you've got that approach when you're playing it, it's not like you're just reciting a script. There'll be something a little bit more organic about the way you play it, and that's something that the listener can pick up on. It feels a bit more genuine rather than you are playing this strict arrangement that you play it every time. And you kind of go through the motions.
And it's not the classical guitar player way. Classical guitar player sits with the notation and plays it perfect, and I admire that. That's an impressive skill. But I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'll play it differently a little bit every single time.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's benefits and drawbacks to both, definitely.
Yeah. So you must have been playing a few years when the Beginnings CD came into being. How did you go about selecting songs for that? Because it's quite a wide repertoire of like country influence, the Dire Straits. There's like a tango on there, that I remember rightly. There's quite a mix. So
if I'm honest with you, I barely remember. It was a case of I had like a set list of songs I would play live quite frequently, and I just tried to take the best of that and make them recordable, and just recorded through them and published it. The intention of that CD was purely like to give people at the guitar shows something to walk away with.
So like a very flash business card in a way.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it was. And I find myself now like, getting a bit older and focusing on, I guess, what makes me when it comes to guitar. Like I find myself like I need to work on a next one, and I need to work on and the next one I would probably end up calling my first one, because it really is my first one. That was quite literally cobbled together because of the time. But in terms of selecting songs, it was just based off of like, what am I playing live that I enjoy playing, what do people enjoy listening to, and then taking that and putting on a CD. That was it.
Yeah, so you're fairly well established on the live circuit with the guitar shows now. So obviously the first time I saw you was over at Penrith. That's a long time ago. Your name keeps cropping up anytime I get flyers from like Mojo or Northern Guitar Shows. Is that kind of like your thing now?
I appreciate that. It's so Kenny runs the Mojo and Peter and Gaylor runs the Northeast ones. They're lovely people, and obviously Ken I think ran the Penrith one, if I remember correctly, and obviously we'll probably talk about it. I took like quite a bit of time off music, and now I'm getting back into things. And the guitar shows, I don't know if Peter and Gail and Ken know this, but they've been really valuable to me in getting my ability back, because you're playing in front of a load of guitarists who, frankly, they know your mistakes, they hear them, but they appreciate your work,
Yeah.
So it's like the perfect combination between you've got to be good because otherwise you got your mistakes that people will listen to, but also you've got an audience who appreciates what you do. So it's perfect. It couldn't have worked out any better, and I'll just do them as long as Peter and Gil and Ken will let me, because it's got a great audience, and I see some of the same people at the same shows, and it's really lovely actually. And the other reason why I do them is because I work with a company called Tonewood Amp, who make this amazing gadget that adds effects to a guitar, and they're a family-run business, and I really love the owners, Pete, Ofer and Helene. They're really kind people, and I'm trying to get them into the UK market a little bit more. So I basically bring their Tonewood amps to the guitar shows and show people, and people are really loving them. So there's two reasons why I do it, but generally I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
They're good.
I mean, like you say, when you know that the audience is 99% guitarists and 1% bored girlfriends who've been dragged along, it
Yes.
must be a bit intimidating. You just got all the guys just staring at you, and
Yeah.
probably most of them couldn't tell you what your face looks like because they're just watching your fingers and, like you say, critiquing your technique.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's funny, I was at the Manchester Guitar Show last time, not this time. The live room was located directly opposite the toilets, and like that whole time that was there must have been like 50 to 100 people during my set go to the male toilets. Not a single person went to the female toilets. So yeah, that's the target audience. It's a bit of a shame, really. But it is good because you've got this audience who spot your mistakes, but they also are lovely people who really value what you do, and I think it's been, with the incident that happened with my arm and the whole stepping out of music and coming back, it's been actually quite a scary thing to play live. It's been a bit terrifying at times, and there's no better place to do it than a guitar show.
Yeah, something I've noticed about the guitar shows is, I mean, they're generally there for traders, but you can spend all day just in the live venue watching some really good acts. Something I've noticed happens, and it didn't happen with you, and it didn't happen with Aziz Ibrahim. Nobody was talking. The amount of times there's a band on and people are just just having a few casual words. I noticed when you were playing live, people were listening to it, and when you had the quiet passages. I think with that Aziz, it was just because it was like, what the hell is that guy doing? Because he's so out there. But I thought the audience, like you say, a really good crowd. They're very respectful, and they were listening, and you could hear
That's
the
lovely.
nurturing.
Thank
And
you.
I think that's I think is a real compliment.
Thank you. That really is, and that's something that it's, you feel it when you're playing live. One of the greatest feelings for me. I do a version of Tommy Manuel's Imagine, which probably is on that CD that you've got, and there's a section in that where I just bring the volume like right down to like this really subtle, and I just love that feeling where the whole audience is just with you.
Yeah.
They're with you in that moment.
Yeah.
That's just one of the best feelings live, without a doubt.
Yeah. Okay, so you alluded there to having had a little bit of a hiatus from playing guitar. Yeah, because a wee while ago I was sitting just minding my own business, scrolling away on Instagram, my usual Instagram feed, and electric guitar, acoustic guitar, amplifier, electric guitar, horrific X-ray picture. I was like, what the hell's that? And it was from you. So what was the story there? What happened, and what took you away?
I was probably on a lot of drugs when I uploaded that picture, so it probably wasn't the best idea to upload that picture. But honestly, it's ridiculous. I was playing in the. I used to do a lot of sports, so I used to do a lot of rock climbing, a bit of MMA. Never had an injury, really. Never had an injury. And then I'm chasing the dog in the garden. I fall over and I snap both bones in my arm. So I've had an arm break before, when I was very little, and in the moment I was kind of okay with it. I was like, well, this is going to be my life for a few weeks. I need to probably get some surgeries, probably get a cast for a while. But I was like, it's just an arm break, I'll recover. I was actually pretty indifferent at the time. And then I had the surgery, and I mean, you can see the scarring on the arm, and it ain't pretty. A couple of weeks after the surgery, it was noticed that the thumb on this hand couldn't move, so I couldn't do that. So this was just kind of as it was getting into COVID time, and as we all know in the UK, the NHS just hugely struggled to cope with COVID. So by the time I actually got seen and got anywhere near a second surgery, it was far too gone. Basically, the muscle that controls the thumb, called the FPL, had deteriorated. If it was caught a little sooner, I might not have had the problem, and I would have been back to playing. But the result of the surgery basically means that I'm missing the function of the FPL muscle, so that thumb can't move at all on this hand.
Wow.
So that meant that, like, for the first like year of trying to get back to things, it meant that, like, I was in a lot of pain. So at that point, I actually didn't think I was ever going to get back to playing guitar. And fingers crossed, he doesn't doesn't mind me saying this online. But at that point, when I thought I was about to give in, I messaged Tommy Manuel, and he called someone else, and I'll not disclose the name of that other person because it is someone very well known in the guitar world, who then essentially gave me a recommendation to this surgeon in London. So I bit the bullet, went to this private surgeon in London who was phenomenal, did another surgery on me, essentially got rid of the pain that I was having, but I'm still in this predicament where I don't have the FPL muscle. So once I gotten past the point where I was having pain, it was now just a case of, okay, so I'm missing this muscle, how can I get back to guitar? So after I would say about a year and a half, 2 years of quite relentless practicing, I'm at the point now where, even though I don't have the muscle that controls the thumb, I'm getting to a point where I can grip the guitar properly. I can't do things like put my thumb over the fretboard. I'll never get that back. But I've got the grip, and I've got the ability to play for a good amount of time. It used to be like, can I play for 10 minutes? Can I play for 20, 30? And now I'm at the point where I can comfortably do probably about 2 hours of playing. It was a challenging time. Mm-hmm. And, that year of it going on, I was kind of like, it felt like I had my identity ripped from me. I knew I was going to be a guitar player. I was always going to be a guitar player. That's how I identified as me. And then that was just ripped apart. So I had a year of being a bit confused, a bit depressed. But I'm proud that I'm back playing.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm doing it, and don't get us wrong, I'll never be like I was, because it's hard to do these kinds of things without the thumb. But I'm at a point now where I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but if you look at Django, he had the 2 fingers, and you find a way to adapt and overcome your limitations.
Absolutely. Yeah. If anything, the downside is that it's not an obvious problem, so people don't necessarily see the fact that I still have a thumb. It just doesn't work. Yeah. So people don't necessarily see that. So it is a different thing. But yeah, Django, huge inspiration to me. Yeah. What he managed to do with the limits he had is phenomenal. So yeah, without a doubt, while it took me a while to get to where I'm at now, I'm at a point where I'm playing more. I've started to get over some of the confidence issues that came with the change in playing, because that was a bit of a challenge. And now I'm at the point now where I just need to do more activity. I just need to record more, need to play more, and hopefully give me a few years and I'll be back at full speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the past couple of times I've seen you, it was like, I can't believe this is the same guy who was sharing pictures of like broken bones and like stitched up arms. It was, without that knowledge, you wouldn't have thought you'd had the injury.
Oh, it's been crazy. Part of me wishes I documented the process, and I do have like videos on my phone of like recordings of the early days, and one day I might take the time to go back through and find bits, but it was quite literally as bad as I couldn't actually press down a note. It would take just because of the weirdness of how the arm felt and how the thumb felt, it was hard to play a note. So it taken me a long time to get here, but I'm really grateful actually that I am eventually here. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, okay. Something you said there, we'll have to rewind to, because I can't let it go past. You just casually dropped in that you were able to DM Tommy Emmanuel. So obviously you have have history with Tommy, don't you?
Yeah, he's just the nicest guy in music. There's just no other way to put it. I met him when I was 13, I think was the first time, and there's a video on YouTube that went quite viral of me meeting him when I was 13, and that video is just a great example of the kind of person he is. He walks into this backstage room, he meets and greets all these people, spending time with them, and he meets me and realizes that, you know, I'm young, I'm passionate, I'm trying to get to a point where I'm playing his songs well, and he just takes the time.
Yeah.
He takes 15 minutes to play a song with me, and then actually, you know, teach me something. And the song that he teaches me is a one called Man with a Green Thumb. And actually, it's quite funny. I couldn't get the song. There was a pattern in the song that I couldn't get at all, and he showed me. And then from that day, I felt like I got it. So, you know, from since then, really, I've you know, lightly kept in touch with him. I played with him at the Sage and Gateshead in 2017, and then 2017, I think that's right. And then you know, I've seen him a couple of times since, and yeah, he responds to emails, he responds to texts, and we don't talk loads, but I'm you know, I messaged him in this time of need, like, do you know anybody that knows about this stuff? Because at that point I'd met maybe 10 people through the NHS who gave me different answers and also didn't understand what I needed as a guitar player.
Yeah.
So I was like, surely, Tommy, you must know somebody. And he just called us out of the blue. I didn't expect it. And he said, I'm going to try and find somebody. And he did. He found me this surgeon who was brilliant.
Oh, that's excellent. So an all-round good egg. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just the best. He really is the best.
Yeah, I've seen him live two or three times, and he always seems a very engaging person. He often gets the support act to come up for the last song, you know, to give them a little bit of time in the spotlight with him, which I think is really nice. You know, yeah. I mean, ultimately he likes to do for people what Chet did for him. It's just this whole passing down of goodwill, and that's, I think, my favourite thing about like this genre of guitar. Generally, it's a really positive crowd. It's a really positive group of people. You know, we all do try to pull each other together. Like, I was just at NAMM show in January this year, and I stayed with this guitarist called Colin Hill, who is phenomenal. And we both play similar things, but we honestly could just sit together for hours and play and share ideas. And then there was this other guy called Kent Nishimura, who is phenomenal as well. Everyone should check him out. He was also lovely. So that's the thing about this style of guitar. It's just such a lovely team of people, and that only comes because of Chet Atkins being nice to Tommy being nice to everyone else, and it's brilliant. I love it. Yeah. Because I think you're right. Because my background's much was like electric guitar, rock player, and I remember a long time ago going to see a clinic with a American guitar player, Michelangelo Betio. Very flashy. He does all, you know, he's got the double neck guitar and the quad neck guitar, and he does all this crazy stuff. And he came out to do his first song, and he's doing this stuff where he's playing under and over the neck. And he finishes, and everyone, like, you know, polite clap, and he says, "Is nobody going to comment about what I did? You know, I did all this flashy." You know, you won't, because you're all rock guitar players, and you don't want to admit that there's somebody in the room who's better than you are. You know, there's just not, you know, there's that, you know, I want to be the rock guitar hero. Whereas you say the acoustic community, the fingerstyle community, does seem a bit more, like you said, people are helping each other out and being a bit more supportive, rather than constantly trying to be the one-upmanship.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong,
exactly.
not all electric guitar players are like that, but I think it has a tendency, particularly in rock, to try and be the big guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's with everything. You know, you generally have people that go either way with every facet of life, but fingerstyle guitar and fingerpicking guitar tends to be extremely positive, and I can only think that's just because of the people at the top who've really made this genre what it is. And I know I give credit to Tommy and I give credit to Chet, but there's Andy McKee, there's Don Ross, there's Mike Dawes, there's a long list of really lovely people doing this, and it's infectious. I really do think it. And yeah, I mean, I look at players all the time, and I'm just like, it's hard not to be humble, because in fact, I'm going to start by saying something not very humble. When I was 13, if you look at that video of me and Tommy, I look back at that video and I'm like, wow, I think I was actually probably one of the better 13-year-old guitar players out there.
Yeah.
At that point, I looked around the internet. I don't think there was many people who were that skilled. Sung Jung maybe is one of them who was on that level. But now, I am like one of thousands of phenomenal players, and there are people half my age, twice as good, and actually it's amazing. It's amazing to see. Ken Nishimura, the guy I just mentioned, he's one example of somebody who's just kind of appeared from nowhere in this world, and he's just kicking ass. He's just brilliant, and I love it. I love to see it. And yeah, I mean that's the great thing about this. It's become this quite modern way of guitar playing.
Yeah, cool. Okay, you mentioned NAMM, so it's probably worth chatting a little bit about gear, because I know people who follow my channel tend to focus in on the gear videos. So what are you using in terms of guitars these days? What's your
all sorts?
Oh.
All sorts. So it depends on the scenario. So my favourite guitar is actually in a case over there. It's made by, you know what, I'm going to get it. You might have to cut this out because I'm going to walk over there. But it's worth getting. You know, people in the fingerstyle world will be quite familiar with Maton guitars, which are an Australian make.
Yeah.
Fantastic guitars. I actually love them. They are amazing for playing live. So when it comes to playing live, I use a Maton guitar just because of the pickup systems. They're phenomenal. It's the same thing Tommy uses, and I don't think anyone's going to really overtake Maton anytime soon on that. They are just brilliant, and I love them. When it comes to recording, this is my main guitar of choice. This is a guitar made by a guy called Sam McLaren, who's actually local to the Northeast. He's based in York now.
Okay.
Stunning guitars that are built for musicians. There's a lot of like luthiers who build fantastic guitars that are kind of more art piecey. Yeah. Whereas Sam really focuses on it being playable and robust. So yeah, he's my main guitar maker for just general recording stuff. But I like to try different things. Like this Boucher at the minute is a French Canadian make, and it's blowing my mind. It's just a beautiful sounding guitar acoustically. So those are the guitars predominantly, and then something that stayed true for me throughout my whole guitar playing online is guitar playing on stage has been an AER amp. You've heard of the AER amps. Yeah. So I use those all the time, and that's a great way of getting a sound into a PA system. And then my other favourite piece of gear is that Tonewood amp that I mentioned before.
Yeah, for anyone who's not familiar with it, explain the Tonewood amp, because I had to watch a couple of videos before I really understood. It's like, no, this can't be happening in a little acoustic box. So explain, for the uninitiated, explain the Tonewood amp.
Yeah, so the Tonewood amp is a small device that uses magnets to attach to the back of the guitar, and what it does is, through vibrations and vibration technology, it makes effects come out of your sound hole. So reverbs, delays, choruses, tremolos, you can have those effects just come from the guitar naturally. It's quite a surreal thing, because us guitarists, we're used to plugging into an amp and then having the reverb come out of the amp that's on the floor over there. Instead, you're getting it coming out of the guitar, and you're sitting and you're playing and you hear the reverb. It's like you're transported into a hall. It's weird. Yeah. It's weird, but it's really impressive. And that's I play with that nearly all the time. But beyond that, I mean, I'm not really like for performance particularly. I'm not really like a gear kind of person. I don't use any pedals. I just like to just have a nice sound and just play. But I love my studio gear. I'm a big fan of microphones and preamps and that kind of thing. But none of that tends to be used live.
Yeah, so playing live, is it just like piezo system, or is it? Yeah, it's not an guitar mic.
So the Maton pickup system has piezo, and then it has a microphone that adds a little bit of air to it and the percussion, and then that goes straight into the AER amp, and then out of the AER amp straight into the PA system. That's it. Sometimes I'll have a tuner pedal on the floor just to mute, unmute, and check tuning, but generally that's that's all I do. I mean, I've thought about experimenting with things because that kind of approach to live performance is very similar to what Tom Emanuel does, and so many other great players do that. I have thought, like, is it worth me trying some other things? But generally, like, I feel like I've got enough things to think about on stage that I don't want to add the complication of pedals. But don't get us wrong, it's amazing that people can. Mike Dawes, one example, is someone who can have all these crazy pedals and abilities and actually use them really well. I think it's just a bit much for me.
Yeah, because I saw Mike a few years ago. He was playing at the Clooney in Newcastle, and he had Mary Spender was supporting.
I was there.
Yeah, because Mary was saying, like, I'm the electric guitar player, and I'm plugging straight into the PA. The acoustic guitar player's got a pedal board the size of a dinner table. You know, there's something about it. But he really knows how to exploit the effects.
He does, yeah. That's impressive to me. So I would just get overwhelmed and I'd make a mistake. But you know, one day I might dabble and give it a go. But at the minute, I'm really simple when it comes to live performance.
Yeah, I mean that's no bad thing. You can concentrate on the music. I mean, I remember, a few years ago, I went to see Wilco Johnson. You know, the player he was playing in the at the Academy in Newcastle, and it was just him, Telecaster, Fender amp. When he wanted overdrive, he just made the amp a bit louder. And it was just, you could just get into it. There wasn't, and then you see other bands and there's people tap dancing on the pedals. There's like no engagement with the audience because they have, I've got a pedal change in a bar's time, and it's just, I think it spoils the live experience a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, it can do, but there are people who do it really, really well, and I do admire it. Maybe one day, but at the minute, I'll keep it simple. But NAMM is one of the greatest places to explore gear. I love that place so much. Every time I've come back, I've gotten horribly sick, and I think it's just because of all the people. They call it Namthrax.
Everybody talks about the Namthrax. Especially for wherever it is. It's it's in California. It's hot, humid climate, and all those people. It's not going to be good.
But it's just a brilliant place. It's great to see everybody, and I would go back every year. Really, it's great.
Cool. Okay, I'm conscious of taking up quite a bit of your time, so
that's all right.
Before we go, over to you to do any sort of gratuitous plugging for websites, social media, anything that you want to shout out, forthcoming appearances at guitar shows, things like that.
Honestly, if you want to hear more of what I do, I think the best place to see that is probably Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm working on getting a bit more regular with it, and it's something that I want to do more of. I think those are the best places to reach out and drop me a message if someone wants to talk or see a particular song or something. Please just reach out.
Okay, cool. And I noticed you've got the the Leeds Bradford show coming up next month.
I'll be doing most shows. Actually, I've got the Leeds Bradford one, and then I'm off to Guitar Summit in Germany.
Oh, excellent! That'll be.
So if anyone's in Germany, please say hello. I'll be there for the whole time, and I'll actually also be in San Francisco next month. Don't know if I'll be playing and where, but might be something coming up for that. The guitar shows, you'll see me at all the Mojos and the Northeast ones for the foreseeable.
Okay.
Okay,
that's good stuff. Okay, well, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to me today. I really appreciate it, getting to know a bit more about your music, and hopefully anybody watching this video who's not familiar with you will go and check out your Instagram and YouTube, whatever. I'll put links down in the description section of the YouTube video so if people want to follow that. So thanks again for joining me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.